Good afternoon and welcome to the Granite Curling Club in Edmonton for the opening draw of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. Right now, the two teams, Calgary 1 and Saskatoon 2, throwing their final rocks in preparation in their practice before the game starts. It'll get underway in about 15 minutes. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Stay tuned. "16 teams, 1 goal. The top 2S LGBTQ plus curling teams from across Canada have made the trek out west with their eyes set on Edmonton, Alberta, the city of champions. And for one of these teams, that slogan will ring true. Will it be an historic three-peat? Will we crown a first-time champion? The 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships start right now. Good afternoon. We are live from the Granite Curling Club in Edmonton. My name is Kevin Jesus. I'll soon be joined by Dean Carlson. The opening day of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championship, sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. We've got a great slate of games for you today, but our feature game is here on Sheet C. Calgary 1 taking on Saskatoon 2 in the opening draw of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. The first end brought to you in part by Fruit Loop. So, the game just underway. Again, there is a no-tick rule, just so you are aware. And it is Saskatoon 2 with the hammer to start the game. Kurt Hauser's the lead for Saskatoon. Dylan Flash is the skip. Dustin Anderson, Spencer McKnight, the sweepers. As this game gets underway, it is 1 o'clock here in Edmonton. Other games we're keeping an eye on. Over on sheet number A, it is Halifax 2 taking on Ottawa. Vancouver takes on Toronto 2 in sheet B. Over on sheet D, it is a battle of Saskatchewan. Saskatoon 1 taking on the newcomers here to the Canadian Pride Curling Championships, Regina, their first time at Nationals. Over on sheet E, it is St. John's all the way from Newfoundland and Labrador taking on Winnipeg. Sheet F, it's Montreal, Halifax 1. Sheet G, it is Edmonton 1 taking on Calgary 2. And over on sheet H, Edmonton 2 taking on the two-time defending champions, Toronto 1, skipped by Bill Francis. So there is Joel Pendergrast throwing his second rock of this end. Joel with a making his debut here at the CPCC Nationals. Nice takeout as they've got 2 guards up, and Saskatoon looking to get something into the house now as well. By the way, as you watch these games, you can support your favorite curler or team by buying them a drink. $7.50 for the single, $23 for the pitcher. All you have to do is e-transfer curlingwithpride@gmail.com. Just include the name or the team in the e-transfer message, and that way we'll be sure to get that delicious treat to them. So Kurt Hauser with his last shot. They're the 2 leads, Hauser and Pendergast. The sweepers are off as this one slides in. We'll have enough to stick around. Not so much. Slides right through the house. So just 2 guards in play here. Jeff Holmland is the second here for Calgary number 1. This is his 10th Nationals, first in 5 years. So he's certainly a veteran here at the CPCC. You know, Calgary very excited. They've certainly been pouring things on in the last little while. A team from Calgary was in the semifinal last year, but they have yet to win the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. So he gets that into the rings. We'll take a look now as Spencer McKnight throws his first of 2 stones. Spencer McKnight won in 2022 with Saskatoon. You know, Saskatoon, they've won 2 national championships back in 2017 and then in 2022. Pretty remarkable considering the fact they've really only been around for about 11 years. So it's pretty awesome to see how well that city has embraced queer curling here in the country. So Spencer McKnight looking for an easy takeout, and he does. Rolls right out. So far it's looking like we're going to be getting a little bit of a blank here in the first end. Again, brought to you in part by Fruit Loop. speaking of Fruit Loop, for more than a decade, they've been one of Edmonton's premier 2S LGBTQ plus event hosts. They throw unforgettable parties that support our community. For 12 years, more than $150,000 has been raised, raising money for groups, but also raising awareness and to educate. Like S Club 7, there ain't no party like a Fruit Loop party. Jeff Holmland's shot. Right down the middle, gets it right onto the 4-foot. So we've got to play, and it is right behind the guard, so.
You're just trying to transfer
Spencer McKnight can certainly see a piece of it from the hack, and they're certainly going to try and take this out. As Dylan Flash, the skip for Saskatoon 2, holds the broom. And we're so thankful for all of you who are tuning in to our first live stream. We know it's going to be a little shaky right now. We've had some technical difficulties, but we're making a go of this. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll see how this progresses. McKnight's shot looks to be on the guard. And the guard's out of play, which is good, and he's ending up to right hugging the center line. A bit of a guard there. Logan Chinsky is Calgary's third. He's trying to make history here in this event. He won back in 2015 with Vancouver. No curler at the Canadian Pride Curling Championships has won with two different teams. So Logan Chinsky's first shot, he is the third for Calgary 1. Well, you can see Josh Berry right away telling the sweepers to hold off. Just let her slide down. Great weight here. Nice throw by Logan Chinsky. Again, Dean Carlson will be meeting us here shortly. He is one of the co-chairs of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championship Committee. You'll also notice his name on the trophy for Nationals. He donated the trophy. Again, Edmonton created Nationals way back in 2006. Dustin Anderson, the third for Saskatoon. He was the winning skip back in 2022, and he'll be looking to take out his own guard here. Will be a run back? No. Peels it away. Opens it right up. And yes, understandably, Calgary calling for a center guard. By the way, for Calgary, their alternate is Michel Marcon. He was a last-minute addition to the team. He'll be playing in his third national championships. Joel Pendergast sweeping hard. That guard. Well, it's not a guard. It's right into the house now. It's right into the 8-foot. Just touching the 8-foot. This is one of those moments you wish you had the mic so you can just hear the strategy going on between the skip, Dylan Flash, and Dustin Anderson. But basically, Anderson trying to take out the two yellow stones in the 4-foot. Hauser on it early. Scrubbing away. Well, he gets a hit and stick, so one of them goes. Again, Saskatoon does have the hammer, so something to keep in mind here as we get into skip stones. Again, Josh Berry, the skip for Calgary 1. He's a 4-time provincial junior champion. He's been to the Brier 3 times, twice with PEI, once with New Brunswick. He also won bronze at the World Juniors. I was chatting with him yesterday as his team came in, and his teammates very quickly pointed out that Josh loves to read poetry on road trips. So we'll see how things go. Skip zones here in the first end, brought to you by Fruit Loop. Logan Chinsky holding the broom at the other end. It should be a nice routine shot here by Josh Berry. Takes it out, gets a nice little roll right behind cover. Things looking pretty good here for Calgary. But Dylan Flash hoping to make things go away. Calgary sitting 3 right now. I mean, in a perfect world, I don't know if you have a chance to get all 3 out. I feel like one of these rocks is going to jam, but we'll take a look here as Dylan Flash. Well, he got rid of 2. A lot better than 3. So, Josh Berry with his final shot of draw number 1. Depending how things go here, realistically, they're going to be forcing Saskatoon to try and score 1 here. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, Halifax 2 taking on Ottawa. And Halifax 2 sitting 1, a chance to score 2. And they draw it right into the 4-foot, so it's too early 2-0 lead for Halifax 2 over on sheet A. So again, back to sheet C, our feature game. Calgary 1 taking on Saskatoon 2. This is Josh Berry's final shot for Calgary. Calgary, the Yellow Stones. Saskatoon playing the Red Stones. Josh Berry, final shot, draw number 1. The first end, brought to you in part by Fruit Loop. And he gets a hit, a little bit of a roll. And Saskatoon wasting no time. They'll know exactly what they're going to be doing here. You're going to take out that stone in the 8-foot. You stick around, maybe give it a little bit of a roll inside, and it will be a 1-0 lead for Saskatoon. But you got to make the shot. So Dylan Flash in the hack right now. Dylan Flash to score 1. He's got it. Nice shot. As he sticks around for the 1. Saskatoon 2 takes a 1-0 lead at the end of 1. We'll be back in just a few seconds. All right, we're back here for the second end of the opening draw of the Canadian Pride Curling Championship, sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. The second end is brought to you in part by the City of Edmonton. Thank you very much to the City of Edmonton for their wonderful grant support for our national event. It is 1-0 Saskatoon 2 over Calgary 1. Saskatoon again throwing the red stones, Calgary with the yellows. Kurt Hauser throwing his second shot of this end.
In my trip here, I've already spoken once.
All right, and we are back. Once again, my name is Kevin Jesus, and I'm joined here by Dean Carlson, who is one of the co-chairs of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. Dean, how's it going?
Going pretty good. It's been a little bit of a hectic morning, but things are starting to smooth out and everything's running smoothly, so we can't complain about that.
Dean's also been pretty busy. He's not only the co-chair of this, but he's also on the executive board of our Curling with Pride League. He's also curling in the Spring Fling Bonspiel. Do you ever sleep?
Maybe next week.
I love it. Jeff Holmland throwing for Calgary number 1 here. This is their third shot.
Things are looking good.
Things are looking good. Saskatoon got off to that nice lead. They were facing up against 3 there at one point, but they managed to come away with scoring 1. So Jeff Holmland, just a little heavy there.
Oh, surprising.
Actually, it goes right through the house. I actually thought he was going to get a piece of that,
I did too.
but it did not. You were on the ice today. How do you find the ice conditions here today at the Granite Curling Club?
I thought it was really quite good today, actually. We had some decent curl, and yeah, the weight was really nice. Didn't take a lot of effort to get anything going. If anything, it was probably a little bit keener than I first anticipated. Being the first game, you expect it to be a bit sticky, but it wasn't this morning at all.
So you've been to nationals a couple of times.
Yes.
When you go into an event like this, opening draw, there's probably some jitters. What's kind of your strategy as you go into that first game?
For me, it's just a matter of look at each end, each rock, and each call as what it is, and just live for that at the moment. I've never been one where I plan 3 or 4 shots ahead because I can't think that way myself. But I just focus on what needs to be done right now and hope for the best.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think this year it's going to be a little bit different because there is a new format in play.
Absolutely.
It's typically a double knockout format. This year, though, it's round robin. So there are 7 draws and then we drop down to the top 2 from each pool, advance to the semifinal, and then of course the final. So really, if you're going to win the Canadian Pride Curling Championship this year, you have to play 9 games in 4 days. That's a lot of curling.
That is a lot of curling. And a lot of people think, watching the sport, that, oh, it doesn't look like it's all that difficult or it's going to require that much energy. But I can tell you, I'm a skip and I'm playing lead for another team this year, and sweeping, it takes a lot out of you, let me tell you. It's not the leisure that the skip usually gets to have, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of work for them, but I think it's going to prove that he who wins is going to be the best player of the Nationals.
Wise words from Dean Carlson. You know, and Dean Carlson, fun fact, Edmonton has never won the Canadian Pride Curling Championships, but Dean's name is on the trophy. You donated it. So we can say Edmonton is on the trophy.
I had to make sure I was going to get on there at least once.
Dustin Anderson throwing his first stone of the second end. The second end brought to you in part by the City of Edmonton. Again, thank you to the City of Edmonton for their wonderful grant support for Nationals. You know, Edmonton has been a welcoming and inclusive space for the 2S LGBTQ plus community. They actually put in a bid to host the 2030 Gay Games, ultimately falling short. Auckland, New Zealand, Denver, Colorado, and Perth, Australia are the final 3 there. But there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of buzz in the city for the 2030 Games. How awesome would it be for Edmonton to have an event of that caliber, especially for our community here in the city?
It would be amazing, actually. It would bring everybody together from all of our community in all of our sporting events. It would have forced us to actually work together, come together, and put on such an amazing experience for everybody. And I think we just got to keep trying to get these events coming here to really showcase our community and what Edmonton has to offer, because I do think we have a lot to offer.
Oh, we absolutely do. There's so much to do here in Edmonton, so much to see. And we got some great sporting facilities here and something nice and cute like the Granite Curling Club here just north of White Avenue. Nice hit and stick there by Logan Chinsky as Calgary now sitting 1, but I mean, it's still pretty wide open here, so we'll see what ends up happening here with Dustin Anderson's final shot of the game. Again, Saskatoon has won the CPCC twice in the last little bit. Dustin Anderson, actually, his team has been in the Final Four the last 3 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Certainly one of the powerhouses here at Nationals. Obviously, Toronto won, looking for their 3rd straight, and don't discount Regina. They're making their first appearance, but they have a couple of Briar pros there, so it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens.
Going forward.
Dustin Anderson, his shot, the easy takeout, and it sticks around.
Get to the inside of this one, I think it's going to be a nice little shot where he's going to be completely buried.
Well, and that's what you want here. You want to be able to just tuck it in there.
You've got to hide something. It's not horrible, but
it's not terrible. You still get a piece of it.
Yeah.
But that is exactly what you want. You want to hide it in behind all those guards.
Absolutely. If they're there, try to utilize them as much as you
Yep.
can.
So some thinking time now for Dylan Flash. I mean, worst case scenario here, you crash on your own guard up there, but it'd be a pretty bad shot if that were happening.
Yeah. I don't know if I would want to remove those right now because they're not in a bad spot. I think just taking it and rolling away is his best idea.
While we wait on this shot, let's take a look around with our Simon's scoreboard update. Over on sheet number A, Halifax 2 with a 2-0 lead over Ottawa. That one going into the second end. Over on sheet B, Toronto 2 with a 2-0 lead over Vancouver after one end. On sheet D, Regina puts up 4 in the first end. What a way to start their nationals.
Wow, that's amazing.
Big confidence boost there for Regina. Again, they have a couple players that played at the Briar. I think Dustin Kidby is actually cousins with Ben Hebert. So you got a lot of good curling genes here. Watch out for that Regina team. Again, 4-0 lead over Saskatoon 1 over on sheet D. Over on sheet E, Winnipeg with a 1-0 lead over St. John's. Montreal up 2-0 over Halifax 1 in sheet F. Sheet G, we have no score to report right now. They might be a little slow putting up their score on the board. But over on sheet H, it is Edmonton 2, one of the host teams, skipped by Matthew Lefebvre. He's also one of the co-chairs of the Nationals. They're up 1-0 on the two-time defending champions, Toronto 1, skipped by Bill Francis. Tough shot here by Josh Barry. Hits the guards. And now what do you do if you're Calgary? You're probably going to try to draw in behind the guards, kind of split the house a little bit to try and get those two.
You're still going to have something and force them to do something for sure. Don't make it easy for them in the end. And that way they're not going to be able to blanket either.
You saw the disappointment on Dylan Flash's face. I don't know if we could see it on the streaming, but at least here from our perch high above in the lounge of the Granite Curling Club, you certainly could see the disappointment on his face. He knew that was a rough shot. Again, it's still early. We're only the second end. There's still lots of curling to be played.
Recover from this.
Again, they play 8 ends here at Nationals.
Absolutely.
2 hours. So lots of curling left to be played, but again, it's always those little disappointments, and you don't want that momentum to carry over from end over. You need to forget about those.
Absolutely. You can't carry that with you because otherwise it's going to bring your game down and you're just going to continue to spiral. So you just got to shake it off.
Yeah, just pull Taylor Swift, shake it off.
Absolutely.
So what would they be discussing right now? What is the situation? What are they trying to do? Just take out those like, what would be the advantage of that? Why would you not just draw? To me, again, I'm no expert curler. Would you not just want to come around and just sit in behind those red stones?
Exactly what I would be doing, because this he wants to wick off of it to get in there, but I think he's going to leave them possibly a double, which wouldn't be your best situation. So I think he's changed his mind. He wants to wick off of it.
Wick off his own.
Push him around. See if he can get under hiding. Just to make sure he's got 2 in the house, so they're going to have to draw.
Exactly. You want to just force that. Once again, a big thank you to all of you who are tuning in, watching live on YouTube. Again, we're having some technical difficulties here, which is why you don't see a scoreboard on the screen and all of that jazz. We hope to have everything up and running here by in time for the second draw. And again, the plan is to have the feature game on sheet C with commentary, and over on sheet B will be just the game where you can just watch. You can commentate yourself if you'd like. Probably do a better job.
Or make up stories about them.
Exactly, right? So, oh, goodness. So here we go. Josh Barry with his first here in the second end. Again, second end brought to you in part by the city of Edmonton.
Oh, he's switching out his rock. One might have a little more curl than the other, and he's worried about that.
Well, I mean, they did have 8 minutes of practice. Each team had 8 minutes of practice prior to this game, so they got to be a little familiar with their stones. So you're right, there might be a little bit of a preference there for them. Logan Chinsky holding the broom in the house. It's Josh Barry. I was saying earlier when you weren't here, Josh Barry, his teammates say he loves poetry. He loves to read poetry on road trips.
Interesting.
Yeah.
that keeps him calm.
It keeps him calm. Well, he might have needed that for this shot.
Oh, it's looking like he just wanted to curl around it as opposed to.
I feel like it's going to.
I think he's going to wreck.
He's going to wreck on that guard, isn't he?
It's still going to be there, which
A little nudge. It's still
not
there.
bad. It's kind of blocked the path a bit.
You do have a chance for it's a thin double, but you do have a chance here for it.
I like the hit and roll over the double just because keep your life simple if you possibly can. Don't go for the hardest shot just because you don't have to. Don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's two trains of thought with that, right? Because you also want to be aggressive.
Oh,
you want
absolutely.
to like try and make a statement. But you're right. Sometimes safer is better, especially in events like this. Now you do have some wiggle. Unlike the double knockout, with this round robin situation, you do have that opportunity
Absolutely.
to, if you come off to a bit of a slow start, maybe the first or second games are a bit of a flop, you do have time to try and catch
Come
up.
back. Absolutely.
It's harder. Of course, it's harder, but you do have that opportunity.
And it sort of changes the idea too, where you always want to possibly lose the first game.
Wow,
Looking
you can
at the
hear Josh
competition.
Berry screaming from up here between the glass. Gets the hit, the roll, beautiful.
Perfect.
Right behind
Completely
cover.
there.
You couldn't ask for a better shot.
No.
He absolutely made up for that first stone that he threw in this end.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now if you're Josh Berry,
The only thing you got is to push your yellow one onto it. There's no way he can get in there.
I mean, it'd be a pretty wide draw in to maybe get, because all he needs is to get a piece of
piece of
the
it.
forefoot, right?
Absolutely.
And he's scoring. So I guess the question comes down to: are you more comfortable with the draw? Or are you going to try and
Go for the hit for two.
yeah?
And like you said, it's early in the game. You don't need to get greedy right away. You've got some time. It's not like it's a blowout so far.
You want to go with what's comfortable.
Absolutely.
What you have the better chance at making that success. What would be your more comfortable shot here?
I would probably go for the yellow raise. Doesn't mean I would make it per se, but if you're looking for two, that's the only way to get it. And it looks like he's just going to go for this simple draw.
So again, Calgary down one with their final shot. Saskatoon sitting one here as we wrap up the second end of this opening game of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships. The opening day sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. A lot of pressure here for Josh Berry. You also don't want to give up a steal here.
Well, you're hoping you don't, but at least it's only one.
Yeah, being down 2-0 isn't the end of the
It's not
world,
so
certainly,
bad. Not
but
so bad.
you also don't want that momentum of that, giving up a steal so early in that first game. The sweepers are on this hard.
Oh, they're looking like he's a little light.
It does look like, I don't know if he's going to get this. Just wasn't enough. So it is a steal of one for Saskatoon 2, as Saskatoon takes a 2-0 lead here in Sheet C, the opening draw of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships. Welcome back. The third end of the opening draw of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships underway. Calgary 1 taking on Saskatoon 2. Saskatoon, the Redstones, they had a steal of one in the second end to take a 2-0 lead. The World Curling Championships happening right now in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Draw 15 wrapped up just a couple hours ago. Canada skipped by Brad Jacobs with a big 8-2 win over China. Sweden with a 10-4 win over Scotland. Of course, Scotland skipped by Bruce Mowat. He's a proud member of our 2S LGBTQ community. A lot of love for him. Switzerland 8-3 win over Italy, and Norway 10-5 win over South Korea. Canada leading the way. Brad Jacobs 8-1 record. Switzerland second at 7-2. China third at 6-3, and then there's Scotland as well with 6-3. Coming up this afternoon at 2 o'clock, another draw in Moose Jaw, but it is tonight at 7 o'clock. Canada takes on Switzerland, the battle of the top two teams at the World Curling Championships.
I think that's going to be an amazing game to be watching. Jacobs has just been doing a phenomenal job this year. Same as Team Holman. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Team Holman this year just dominating and just exceptional curling. And Jacobs is following suit, and I'm glad that he is doing as well as he is to keep us going.
So you mentioned Rachel Holman. Rachel Holman, world champion, was here, our very special guest at the opening ceremonies of the World Curling, of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. How awesome is it to see that support from someone of her caliber? I mean, really, she's the first skip to win back-to-back world titles since Sandra Schmerler. So we're putting her in the same level as Sandra Schmerler. And I mean, really, it's a generational thing. Older curling fans will look at Sandra Schmerler and hold her up in that pedestal. Rachel Holman now is this generation's Sandra Schmerler.
Absolutely. And I mean, she's a phenomenal curler. Their team has done so well, and it is so amazing to see that kind of support for our community, our league, and this association. I mean, it's just nice to be that they recognize that we need as much support as they do, and that they're willing to take time out of their busy lives. She's a new mom, and here she is coming out to throw the first rock for us and socialize with everybody. She had a Q&A, and Brad Jacobs seems like a very interesting person that I would like to party with one day. And, you know, it's just amazing that you get to meet those people, because when you only see them on TV, you're in awe of them, and just the opportunity to say hello and congratulations, you know, is truly something phenomenal to get to do.
Let's take a look around the Granite Curling Club for the other scores here in draw number one. This CPCC update sponsored by Freddie. Over on sheet A, Halifax 2 with a steal of one in the second end to take a 3-0 lead over on sheet number A. Wow, a lot of steals today. Over on sheet B, Toronto 2 with a steal of one in the second end, so they're up 3-0 there. In sheet D, we're still waiting for an update. It's still, though, 4-0 for Regina. 1-1 over on sheet number E between St. John's and Winnipeg. It is a 2-1 lead for Montreal over Halifax 1. Over on sheet number G, we finally have an update as Edmonton 1 has a 1-0 lead over Calgary 2. And over on sheet number H, the defending champions, Toronto 1, led by Bill Francis. They were down 1-0 in the first end. They quickly turned things around. They scored 3 in the second to take a 3-1 lead.
That's just how quickly these things can change from one end to the next. You just never know what's going to happen, what you're going to get. Sometimes your rock will pick for whatever weird reason and doesn't do what you need it to do, and that gives the other team an opportunity. And if you seize them in on notes on a regular basis, you're definitely going to do well.
Yeah, it's all those momentum shifts, right? And we always want to take advantage of them. And like you said earlier, you should shake it off, and away we go. So Saskatoon sitting 2 right now. As Spencer McKnight, again, he won back in 2022 with Saskatoon. That was his last rock. Just gets it over the hog line. Picture perfect guard. You couldn't ask for something better.
Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. Great coverage. He nailed that one.
Yeah, and this is exactly as predicted here. Jeff Holmland now just peel that out. get it away. Wow, what a
Contact
nice
with
shot.
All three of those.
And it worked out wonderful because guess
He's
what?
sitting
Calgary's
shot
now
rock.
shot rock.
And it's kind of nice to have the red one behind them too, just as a little backup if they're going to try to take it out.
Yep.
They've got something to catch it with, hopefully.
Dustin Anderson's throwing his first stone here in the third end. Anderson, he's skipped quite a bit, but this time him and Dylan flip-flop. Dylan's the skip for this this event. Dustin playing third. A picture-perfect
It's a
take
great
out there.
shot. Yeah, I was chatting with him last night at the registration, and he was saying that they just wanted to change it up, do what's best for the team. And he said since he gave it up, he feels like a weight's been lifted off his shoulders. And I certainly do understand that as well, because there's a lot of pressure when you are the skip of a team that you've really got to pull it in for them if things aren't going well. And sometimes it's not as easy as it looks.
So I wonder if that, kind of plays a factor into it. His team's been in the Final Four the last 3 years. Obviously they won in 2022, but you're right. There is that pressure. There is that expectation to get that job done and to bring home the goal. Because again, Saskatoon sets high expectations for themselves.
Well, and Saskatoon produces a lot of amazing curlers. Let's be honest; they're doing very well since they've joined the Nationals, and they're usually in the top all the time. And I give them credit for that because it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of work, and a lot of your time to get to this level, to be able to compete at this level and do well.
So I assume they're just going to be running theirs back here to take out that yellow.
Yeah. That's really the only way to get at that shot.
Nicely played.
And now you've got something partially covered.
So Saskatoon sitting 2 as we get into our... Nope, we're not in skip stones just yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. In the third end, brought to you in part by Team Edmonton, a non-profit organization that supports and promotes 2S LGBTQ plus sports leagues here in Edmonton, creating a safe, welcoming, and inclusive space for all. They support with advocacy, fundraising, grants, donations, and a new sport this year, lawn bowling. That'll be fun.
I'm seriously looking at joining that one because I think it's just going to help my curling game just a little bit more. I mean, you're still doing
No
the
sweepers,
same sort
though.
of motion.
No
Well,
sweepers. What a nice shot. Draws it right up to that stone. You couldn't ask for a better draw.
Not at all. I was a little distracted with the action that was happening on sheet D there, where one of the sweepers kind of hit the ice.
Oh,
Didn't
hopefully
take
they're
the rock
okay.
out, but he did.
From our vantage point here, that yellow is pressed right up against that red stone. So I don't know how you're going to take this out because I feel like it would just jam here.
Weight at it, it's not going nowhere.
But Dylan Flash, he seems to be confident in this shot, so let's see what happens. And he comes out fast. There's a lot of weight behind this shot.
That has to be the fastest one I've seen so far today. And it's looking good, looking amazing.
Gets them all out. Nicely done. So Saskatoon still sitting one. It is still fairly wide open.
Yes.
If they wanted to take that out. Again, is that the play? Do you take that out and then just blank the end?
At this stage of the game, yes. Because he has nothing in the house, so they're down to skip stones. Your best bet is to try to get blank this one and try to come back in the next one for 2.
It'd be fascinating to talk to Josh Berry. I mean, again, he's been to the Briar 3 times, once with New Brunswick, twice with PEI. But just to get that, what a difference to be, playing club curling, where you're just inside here, it's cold. It's cold down at ice level. Whereas when you're playing inside an arena, when there's thousands of fans, there's a lot more distractions, way brighter lights and so forth. Like, that's totally, forget the talent, forget the competition, but just the atmosphere. What a difference that would be.
I don't know if I could do it really. Like, I'd probably be like, squirrel, 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 because there's something going on everywhere, and I wouldn't even know what was going on with my own game half the time.
Yeah.
But just to be at that caliber and level of curler, to be in this league is pretty astonishing.
Wow, that looks like...
It's looking pretty good. I think he's going to get enough that he's going to roll behind his own.
He sure did. Gets the roll.
Not quite enough,
Doesn't.
but...
So it is wide open. Now, there's nothing in the house here. If I'm Saskatoon, you take that out. I think we're looking at a blank end coming up here.
Yeah, it's looking like this is the direction we're going to be going for sure.
So what's your take on the whole blank end thing? Because when you take a look at whether it's the Briar, whether it's the Scotties, there's been a lot of talk about, I think it was the Briar final with Mike McEwen. I think they went like 3-4 ends in a row with just blanks.
And sometimes that's just what you have to do in order to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Because you can't sell the farm right away either, but you also, if you need to, you've got to make sure that you can get them, because there's no coming back if you can't.
But is that where the advantage comes in? So here at the Canadian Pride Curling Championships, we have 8 ends, not 10.
Yeah.
So you can't really afford to have too many blank ends either.
No, you wouldn't want to unless you're up.
Yeah.
If you're behind, you've got to figure out a way to get those points back as quickly as possible, because like you said, we were only 8 ends instead of 10. Those 2 ends make a huge difference. It's looking like he's just going to throw this one through.
Which makes sense. The final stone here of the third end, brought to you in part by Team Edmonton. And as predicted, it is going right through. We've blanked the end, so after 3 ends, Saskatoon 2 with a 2-0 lead over Calgary 1. Welcome back to the opening day of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships. Sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. My name is Kevin Jesus, joined with Dean Carlson, the legendary Dean Carlson. You got your name on a trophy, right? We talked about. So, I mean, I'm going to use that legendary card. For those of you who are usually come around to some of these events, Dean easily recognizable as he curls in his kilt. It is a tradition like no other.
And, it's getting to be time that maybe it should be retired. I think it's about 24 years old now. And,
Fantastic.
It's not threadbare yet, but if it gets any shorter, we're going to have some problems. I'll tell you that.
Oh, my goodness. How long have you been curling for, Dean?
I started in my hometown with my parents as a spare when I was 15. So I've been curling for 40 years now.
Wow. So you've just seen it all. You've seen the corn brooms.
Oh, the corn brooms and the foam brooms were amazing back in the day. Those suckers were so loud if you really worked it.
Yeah.
But they left a ton of crap on the ice that you didn't want to see later, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And even the start of the push brooms, because most of them were boar bristle back in the day, and I mean, those things shed like nobody's business as well.
Were people smoking back in the day?
Coming out of the hack with
Right?
a cigarette in their mouth. And, you know, it's the typical one where, you know, you used to see it on TV back in the day where the wife is cooking and the ash is just ready to fall off in the food at some point, but it never seems to.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with the curlers, you know? It was crazy. And it would be just a blue haze back then because everybody smoked. So if you weren't a smoker, you were getting
pretty
lung
much were.
cancer
Yeah.
anyway, so...
That's wild. Well, here we are, the fourth end here of draw number 1, which is sponsored by Imperial Sovereign Court of the Wild Rose. Since 1976, they've been an integral part of Edmonton's 2S LGBTQ plus community, one of the first organizations to donate to HIV research in the 80s. They provide scholarship fund to support 2S LGBTQ plus students entering post-secondary in Alberta, fundraising for community groups and events. They have been such a wonderful partner over the years for us, and it's been really great to see them just really give back to the community.
Yeah, I think they've done such an amazing job with all the charities that they do support. I know there's a lot of pushback against a lot of the drag queens and the things that they were doing. But I think if people really look at everything that they are doing to help our community, help those who are vulnerable and need the support and everything else that they need, they're an amazing organization, a group of people. Love them dearly, and I can never thank them enough for all the hard work that they do for us during the course of our league, as well as something like this nationals happening here. They want to be a part of it. They want to make sure it's a successful event.
Yeah.
And yeah, can't thank them enough for all the hard work that they do.
Quick update over on sheet number B, Vancouver taking on Toronto 2. While we were just kind of talking about the Imperial Sovereign Court, one thing that I kept looking at is both teams were kind of huddled off to the side, and I didn't know if there was an injury or what was going on, but I feel like Vancouver probably just needed to kind of collect themselves a little bit. Toronto 2 scored 2 in the third end to take a commanding 5-0 lead through 3. We're starting to get to a point now where that's starting to be a little bit concerning on that score sheet.
Absolutely. When you're down that much, and you can think it's early in the game because it's only the fourth end, but you only got 4 more to go.
Yeah.
And if you're down by 5 already, you've got to start getting something in the house just to stay in this one.
Once again, as you're watching this, let's say there's a curler that you're just like, hey, he's pretty cute, or hey, you know what, I want to support him, or this is a pretty cool team, or you know what, that was a really good shot. Well, you can. Buy them a drink. $7.50 for a single, $23 for the pitcher. All you got to do is include the name or the team name when you e-transfer the money to curlingwithpride@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to deliver that drink to them. Pretty cool. I first started seeing this in Halifax, and I'm sure it started well before, but Halifax is when I first really started seeing this whole buy a drink thing. It was a pretty cool concept, a great way to give back.
I think it is an amazing concept as well. And, you could always leave a special little note for that person as well, or that team. Absolutely, we'll pass that on to them. That wouldn't be an issue, but it's just show some support, show some love, and the whole streaming thing so that people back home, because we do have everybody from every province trying to be here, and not everybody can travel all the time. That's understandable, but this is a nice avenue for us to be able to showcase, and people can be still a part of it and feel like they're still a part of it.
Speaking of being a part of it, for those of you that are here in Edmonton, we have some great raffle prizes.
Oh, amazing raffle prizes. I mean, I kind of want to win the fireplace, although I don't have a balcony on the condo, so I don't really know how I'm going to make this work. But,
So so that propane fire pit donated by Original 16. Fitting, being that Saskatoon 2 is our feature game here. So Original 16 from Saskatoon. I actually had a chance to be inside that brewery and talk with some of the founders of it. It's such a cool story. That brewery was about to shut down when they turned things around, and the Original 16, they took over, and it was run from within, and it's such a great success story. It's such a good prairie story.
Absolutely.
And it's what really makes Saskatchewan shine. They call Saskatoon the Paris of the prairies, eh?
I can see why.
I used to live there for like 7 years, so I do love Saskatoon. It's like Edmonton, but smaller.
I think it's such a similar city to what Edmonton is. We're basically the same. It's just Saskatoon isn't quite as big as Edmonton yet. But there could be. And Original 16 has been such a generous donor to us, not just for this, but for everything else as well, to the club as well. It's just amazing to see those organizations really helping out at the grassroots level, because that's where it's really needed.
1,000%. So here we are in the third end, and Saskatoon sitting 2. Dustin Anderson throwing his first stone of this end.
He's looking for a guard to protect some of the stuff he's got going on here.
Which makes sense here.
He's taking his time and getting there, but
look at
it's looking pretty good.
Kurt Hauser just putting all his weight into that brush. I mean, they're still only sitting 2 though, because you have that back yellow. Well, Original 16, we talked about them, and it's fitting. They are our next scoreboard update sponsor as we take a look here at the Granite Club. Over on Sheet A, it is a 3-2 lead for Halifax 2. Ottawa scoring 2 in the third end. Again, we already talked about Sheet B, where it's 5-0 for Toronto 2. Vancouver really needs to turn things around, and right now, looking over at that sheet, it ain't looking good. That could be early handshakes over in that one. By the way, we are 1 minute away from the first buzzer going off. So they ring a buzzer at the start of the game. They ring a buzzer at the 1 hour mark. They'll ring a buzzer 10 minutes before the 2 hour mark. The goal is to try to wrap up the games in the first 2 hours. And again, once that 2 hour mark hit, you should be done your game.
You should
maybe
be finished.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing it, is we don't want a whole bunch of slow curling. We don't necessarily have timers for every sheet, so this is the only way we could possibly do it, just to make sure everybody's going to be running on time, because we need the ice maintenance to be done in between every game. And in order to do that, we've got to have everybody running on time, starting your games on time, and really being ready to go.
Over on Sheet E, Winnipeg with a 4-1 lead in the fourth end. Montreal up 3-1 over Halifax 1. Over on Sheet G, it is a 3-0 lead for Edmonton 1 over Calgary 2. There's a pillar in the way. That's why I'm always trying to duck my head around just to see what the score is. And Edmonton 2 clawing their way back, down 3-2 against the two-time defending champions Toronto 1 over on sheet number E. Logan Chinsky throwing his shot here again. Saskatoon sitting 2.
That's looking pretty good.
He's trying to get through the port here.
If they can hold it, I think he's definitely got it. Yep.
Gets through the port, hits,
Beautiful.
Sticks around, picture perfect shot. Doesn't get much better than that. He's happy. Look at that smile on his face. He loves
That
it.
deserves a pat on the back for
Yep.
sure.
Again, that port makes it nice and easy. Dylan Flash again, a clear pathway to get that one out. Which again, this is great. Assuming everyone kind of makes the shots that they need to make, we're probably looking at a 1 here for Calgary at the end of this end. But maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
Anything can happen. You never want to say anything that's going to jinx them either.
I mean, I have been known to jinx people. The Jesus jinx is a thing. So we'll see what happens.
This is looking tighty.
He did.
Unfortunately,
He
caught
wrecked
that
on
front
that.
guard. Caught his own. But it's open now.
Now it is
so
wide open.
As long as they're not plugging that up, he can get at that quite easily.
Some tough shots for Dylan Flash.
Absolutely. And that's the thing when you're the skip is you don't always have the easiest shots to make. Confidence is king.
But again, as we've talked about, there is room for error in this format.
Absolutely.
Unlike the double knockout where you lose once, then you're in big time trouble.
Yeah. This gives everybody a very even playing field for everybody to get to where they need to be. Yeah, it's a little bit more curling, but that's why we're here anyway.
Yep. And that's as the days progress, that's where, rest is going to play a factor, fatigue will play a factor. You're going to have to pace yourself.
Absolutely.
That was a really, as I think about it, that was a really unfortunate shot there for Dylan Flash there.
I was quite surprised that he was on that front one. I thought he was going to be able to get past it, but I guess with the weight that he was throwing, it was just a little bit too much. And there's always that variance, too, from the first rock to where you're in the fourth end. Things start to keen up a little bit, especially if you've been playing down the same part of the ice repeatedly. I mean, it's going to get a little bit keener, and it's going to do it fast. And sometimes it catches you off guard.
Yep. Josh Berry throwing his first of 2 skip stones.
Looking
Again,
like he's hoping for a guard.
Calgary down 2-0 here in the fourth end.
Past the guard, things are looking good. Hopefully it's going to be split enough if we didn't leave him a double. I don't think there is a double. But he can still get a point.
Is this one of the things where you just roll in behind so you're kind of covered behind the red guard and the yellow stone there just to try and prevent them from scoring 2 at all? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see here if Dylan Flash is able to shake off that last shot. Salvage this end here for Saskatoon too. Again, they're in good shape here. They're up 2-0. Kurt Hauser on it again.
I think he's a little bit wide, rolling outside.
Okay, so here we go. They're sitting 1. Is there an opportunity? Is there any way that you can get rid of the 1 red stone on top of that's just biting the 8-foot?
Absolutely. If you're Rachel Holman or Brad Jacobs, you can easily push that.
Because if you're able to do that, could you score 3 here or something like that? Is there any ways of that?
Would I be doing it? I don't know if I would take that chance.
They're going to take the easy way, draw
Absolutely.
and get your 2. And then we've got ourselves a tied game after 4 ends.
It brings you right back into it.
A big confidence boost here for Calgary if they can get the job done.
Yes.
But again, you got to make the shot. Easy on paper, easy for us.
Oh,
when
yes.
we're up here. We're not the ones down there.
We have all the wisdom
doing it.
behind the glass.
Yeah, and believe there ain't a lot of wisdom coming from me. But we'll see how this goes. The final shot of the fourth end, presented by the Imperial Sovereign Court of the Wild Rose. Sitting 1, Calgary hoping to score 2 to tie this game up.
They just need to be in the 8-foot. Things are looking good.
They've got it.
It's perfect.
They've got it. Never in doubt.
Pretty
There's
much
the deuce.
right to
Calgary
the pin.
ties it up through 4 ends. It is a 2-2 game. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back. Fifth end action here on the opening draw of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships. The opening day of the event is sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. Once again, my name is Kevin Jesus, joined by Dean Carlson, the co-chair of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships, executive member of Curling with Pride League, the founder, one of the co-founders of the national event back in 2006.
Absolutely. He is not happy with that shot.
No, it is a no-tick rule here.
It is a no-tick rule, so that Yellowstone has to be put back where it was. I don't know if he was a bit inside or if that just grabbed all of a sudden and they weren't quite ready for it.
He was really frustrated. You saw him slam his broom down on the ice. And, I mean, it is because it's a wasted shot.
Yes.
It's a wasted shot.
And your leads are the ones who set up the game for the rest. So you kind of need those so you've got something to hide behind. If you got nothing to hide behind, it's pretty hard to get a point.
The no-tick rule, is that a new thing here with the CPCC?
Yeah.
So that is a new thing. You know, what are your thoughts on it, from your perspective, from your experience?
It makes sense. It's making things a little more complicated because it's not going to be just the easy hit
Yeah.
game that some people like to play. There's some strategy involved in this, and it can really work to your advantage. And if you're behind, it can work to not your advantage. So I think it's a really good way to play because it makes the game that much more interesting. It just shows that there's a new level of curling. It's not just about hit and replace. It's about getting around things, getting in there and hiding and trying to force the other team into something amazing.
And they kind of brought this in to try and increase a little bit of the excitement in the games because of the blanks, right?
Absolutely. Because nobody wants to watch a game where nobody's getting any points or it doesn't really seem like anybody's making any spectacular shots, because a hit's a hit. But if you're having to get around something to make that hit, it makes it that much sweeter. Just
Nice
like
shot
that
there
one.
by Spencer McKnight. Just skirts past that
Just-
center guard.
and so close to the guard that
Yeah.
any more and he would have wicked off and not got that, but that's incredible.
Yeah. The fifth end of today's game is sponsored by Evolution. For more than 10 years, Evolution has been Edmonton's only club serving the 2S LGBTQ plus community. They host regular drag and burlesque shows, great place to party. They've raised more than $500,000 to support groups like HIV Edmonton, GSAs, the Canadian Mental Health Association, and of course, Curling with Pride. And some exciting news to share. They have a new location opening up on Jasper Ave. This is great news for Evolution in the city of Edmonton.
I'm so excited for Evolution and Rob. He has really been a pillar of this community. He has worked with a lot of the bars throughout his career, and I think he's just done amazing things for us. I'm excited to see this new space when he finally gets it open. It's going to be beautiful, and it gives us a really great place to go. And me personally, it's a lot closer to my home, so I'm really looking forward to that too.
Perfect. You can
'cause
just
you always
walk
gotta
there.
think about their way home.
Yeah. Makes life a little bit easier. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And I mean, you know, Evolution has just been such an integral part of our community, and to even just have street level access now, right?
Absolutely. We're finally moving out of the basement.
Yes. You know, Michael Fair was here this morning
I
for the
seen him this
opening
morning,
ceremonies. And for those of you, there's about 50 people that were watching the live stream the last I checked. So to all of you watching, hello. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. For those of you who may not be familiar with Michael Fair, he was Edmonton's first openly gay city councilor for a long time. They've actually named a park after him over on 104th. I remember Michael telling me once that in the first Pride parades in the city of Edmonton, there were people that would wear bags over their heads because they didn't want to be seen. They wouldn't want to be
Absolutely.
recognized.
Or you wore a bandana over the lower half of your face
Right.
because you didn't want to be recognized. Because some people back then were losing their jobs because of this. And because we didn't have as many rights as everybody else does, which is why we do have Pride Month, why we do
Yep.
have Pride Parades, because we're celebrating the fact that we are finally included in the conversation. We are finally considered equals.
Yep. And to see just how far we've come since. So going from paper bags on your face on your head during Pride to now in a situation where you've got the Evolution on street level. You've got the look at all the support that we've seen here so far for the Canadian Pride Curling Championships here in Edmonton. It has been wonderful to see.
Absolutely, but I think we still have to be very vigilant, and we have to.
Oh, the fight's
still
not
be
over.
Aware. The fight's not over. It seems like it's coming back a little bit. We've got some people out there who don't necessarily like our community or want us just to go back in the closet and disappear, but we're not going to. We deserve to be here just as much as everybody else. But I really do think that we have to watch this religious persecution that seems to be taking place and make sure that we are still heard, that we are still relevant, and we are not going away.
And that's why visibility matters. That's why events like this matter. And that was some of the insight that I tried giving when I would do some of these interviews with CBC this morning, Sports 1440 the other day, is to remind them that this is really important. We do, representation matters, visibility matters, and that's why events like this is so important. Because again, if we can inspire someone to feel comfortable about who they are because of an event like this, that's a big win.
Especially the younger generation, we have to make them feel comfortable and confident with who they are and who they want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, they're children, and we need to look after them and show them the way.
So here we are, the fifth end, again sponsored by Evolution. This game all tied up at 2. Here's how they got here. Saskatoon started the game with the hammer, scored 1 in the first end, stole 1 in the second. They blanked the third, and then Calgary came back with a deuce in the fourth. Here in the fifth, right now, it is Saskatoon, or Calgary sitting 1. Logan Chinsky, this is his last shot, as he's going to try and draw in.
he might be a little bit light for that.
Yeah.
I don't think he got second
Just
shot.
gets it to the top of the 12-foot there. So it's still, Calgary's still sitting 1. Yeah, it's still sitting 1. That red stone just inside.
Second shot.
This is where nerves start to come in. You start looking at the clock. It's 2:15. You know that, okay, we got about 45 minutes left. We're in the 5th end. Time's starting to run out. You're starting to feel that pressure of, hey, we got to get going here.
Well, and this is also where your team generally will start to have a little more input with the skip as well. If they're not happy with a shot that he's calling, or if they think there's a better opportunity to do something else, this is when they're really going to start to voice it, because they are halfway through this game now.
Yeah.
They've got to make sure that they're going to end up on top.
Curtis Vesley, what can you tell me about him?
He's a very interesting person, Curtis. He's on my team. He has been. I think this is our 3rd season together. And just the kindest, gentlest person you could ever imagine. He is continually giving to our league in any way that he can, whether it's volunteer hours or donations. I have never seen somebody who goes to so many auctions to find so many curling stones that we're able to auction off. And I was fortunate enough that the last sale he was at, that I was able to acquire one for myself. He's just an amazing individual who really cares about our community and our sports and wants everything to be successful. And I can't thank him enough for his generosity and just his spirit. I enjoy having him on my team. He's a great person, all around great guy.
And he is a silver sponsor here at the Canadian Pride Curling Championship. So this scoreboard update is brought to you in part by Curtis Vesley. Over on sheet number A, through 4 ends, Ottawa has come back and taken a 4-2 lead. Again, Ottawa, or 4-3 lead rather. Ottawa was down 3-0 after 2. They scored 2 in the 3rd, scored another 2 in the 4th. So again, it is 4-3 for Ottawa over Halifax 2 over on sheet number A. Over on sheet number B, or sheet letter B, sheet B. Let's just do it that way. It has been a long day, and we're just getting started. Vancouver continuing to struggle as they are down 6-0 to Toronto 2 through 4 ends. It is not looking good for Vancouver whatsoever. If this was curling with pride, I would have shaken hands already, but good for them for keep going.
Well, and we'll see how this end goes. I'm going to suspect that if they possibly don't get any points in this one, that maybe the handshake.
Or maybe they just play it back for the practice. Maybe.
Absolutely. Maybe the team just needs to keep going, finish the last 2 ends, just to give themselves some more practice.
But does this where fatigue comes into play? So if you're down 6-0, at this point, chances are you're not coming back.
Yeah.
So do you now just say, instead of doing the practice, do you say, hey, you know what, let's just shake hands, let's just call this a wash. We've got 6 other games that we can focus on and just kind of rest up for that? Or do you still keep going for it?
I think since it's the first game, I would just keep going.
Yeah.
And I would push my team. I would make them do harder shots because you have nothing to lose at this stage of the game, right? And that way you can see where things are going to go and really push your team to really try to get back in there, because it's only going to take a couple of shots that, if they're really remarkably well, that it's going to give you that confidence boost again, that you're going to rally and you could possibly come back. But I would say just keep going to get more control, get your team more comfortable with the ice, and just finish it.
Over on sheet D, Regina with a 5-3 lead over Saskatoon 1. Back here, though, on sheet C, Dylan Flash, the first of his skip stones, gets past that yellow stone. But is it too heavy? Does it stick around? Yes, it does. Bites the button there.
That's amazing. He was so close to that
He
guard.
needed that. He needed that shot. There's that confidence boost that Dylan Flash needed after that last end. Over on sheet E, things have completely fallen off the rails for St. John's. It looks like they are down 8-1 through 5 ends. So again, similar conversation like Vancouver. They're still playing. So obviously we'll see what happens there. Sheet F is a 3-2 lead for Montreal. Over on sheet G, Edmonton 1 with a 5-1 lead. And then on sheet G, Edmonton 1 up 5-1. And over on sheet H, Toronto 1 up 4-2 over Edmonton 2. We got a special shout out now. Joel Pendergast here from Calgary 1. He wants to give a shout out to his students that are watching at Westridge School in Calgary. So if you're watching, hello, we hope you are enjoying. I hope you're cheering on Calgary. And Calgary's looking pretty good. They scored 2 that last end. Josh Berry's final shot. What do you do here? Obviously, you want to try and get around.
You've got to follow that down.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've just watched it happen, so hopefully he's able to get down there, pick up 2, possibly 3. Possibly not. Possibly just 2. But that's only if he can get on top of that one. If he just nudges it over and rolls out, he might not get the point after all.
There's a lot of pressure here, too, because Saskatoon, they have hammer here. So depending on what happens, you don't want to leave them with an opportunity for 2.
Absolutely not. In a game this tight, every point
Well,
really
and
matters.
you're starting to run out of time. Again, you're on the 5th end. After this,
You've
again,
got 2
you only go
ends.
8 ends here. I wish when I was in school, we'd be allowed to watch curling. That did not happen. So those students at Westridge, pretty lucky.
I hope they are watching the game today too, because your team's doing very well.
On your screen, Joel on the left-hand side, wearing the hat.
I won't tell anybody. Honestly, yeah, actually, I might. I see you taking notes, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to be sort of
Sweepers got on it late.
Well, they were waiting for it to do some
I know.
work
Is that
and
going
to roll
through?
over, but
It's going through.
I think he went
Wow. Went right
through. That
through.
is a steal of 1.
No, not yet. They still have one more
there's
shot.
one more
There's still
rock
one more
still.
rock here.
So there is potential.
So Saskatoon, final rock of this end, sitting 1. They have an opportunity now to score 2. I don't know. You can't get 3 here. No, you're just drawing in for 2. There's no way you could score 3 here.
No.
So drawing, you just need a piece of the forefoot, and you get your deuce and regain that 2-point lead. Dylan Flash, he regained his confidence after that last end. He had a wonderful shot here with his first skip stone here in the 5th, and this would really be a big morale boost for him.
Well, and I think that's what happens during the game. You might have a couple of off shots, but you've really got to rally. You've really got to come back, because you can't just let that sit and hold you down.
Ah, the sweepers. Look at the sweepers. They're just going hard. They're dragging it. Gotta get there. Gotta get there.
It's looking good.
And they
They drugged
did.
that as far as they possibly could. What an amazing sweep.
That's when they say it was never in doubt. They're like, we knew it was going to get there. We knew it was going to get there. Some
This
great
was the
sweeping.
workout that they
Look at the
needed.
smile on Dylan Flash's face. He looks up into the crowd.
And he should be proud
And
of
he
that
was
shot.
all smiles with that one. And why not? As Saskatoon regains a 2-point lead, it is 4-2. Saskatoon 2 over Calgary 1 here on sheet C after 5 ends of play. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back to the Granite Curling Club in Edmonton, Alberta. The Granite's been around for over 100 years. Dean, you're on the board. Again, you do everything. You're on every single board. You never rest.
It is getting to be a bit, but I mean, you got to step up. You got to help out in your community. If you're not going to volunteer then you're really holding things back for a lot of other people too. I mean, just get involved, be a part of it. Help make the decisions to make your sport that much better for yourselves. I think it's important for us to be on that board. We have been with the Granite for over 20 years, and they were a very welcoming league to us back in the day when it wasn't popular to like us. And they welcomed us with open arms, and we feel very thankful and grateful that they did.
Absolutely.
Because I love this club. It's been amazing to
It's home.
us. Absolutely, it's been home. I think the car can get home from here by itself now.
The sixth end of this draw is brought to you in part by Special Event Rentals. For any event, big or small, Special Event Rentals has the experience, the knowledge, and customer service needed to make your event a success. They are Western Canada's largest event rental company and a big supporter of Curling with Pride. It kind of helps when one of their bigwigs, Lars Eriksson, is part of our club. Outgoing president of the year.
Yes. Just enough.
What a drag. Everyone got in there, eh?
Yeah.
Dylan got in there as well. Trying to get in behind that center guard. Again, Joel Pendergast making his first appearance at the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. His dad went to the Briar, his mom went to the Scotties. Right? No.
Oh, just wick that.
Again, there's that tick rule comes into play again.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I thought he was going to get sneaked right past there, but
everyone in the gallery, everyone's noticing that the no-tick rule is a thing. So people will get used to that as the event goes on.
Like that too. It has an impact, you know, because it takes even a while for the curlers to get used to that idea. It's not that you plan for it, but once in a while, sometimes you might just be a little bit too inside. And before it was forgiven, and now it's not.
Well, and that's one of those things too. Like I know this year with Curling with Pride, that's Edmonton's league, by the way, for those of you tuning in. We kind of did it was kind of optional with the no-tick rule, you know, because you have some teams that are just so inexperienced that would really handcuff them. It would really be a disadvantage for them. At this point, you want to just learn the sport and just figure out how to kind of throw those rocks as opposed to adding another, you know, roadblock in the way there.
Absolutely, because we don't want to limit the people who are going to be joining our league or interested in joining our league. We take anybody. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. We take first-year curlers, not a problem at all. I mean, all of our national teams, they were playing by that no-tick rule for the entire season as they wanted to really get used to it, and I think that's very beneficial for them because they're prepared for it. They know what not to be doing, and it just gets them better and ready for this bonspiel that we're doing right now. But if there is anybody out there interested in joining our league, please feel free. Come down. It's a great time. We usually have a curling clinic at the beginning of the year for those new curlers just to get them up to speed with how the game is played, what the rules are, and get you comfortable.
Oh my goodness, over on Sheet B, Vancouver gave up another steal, and yeah, there are the handshakes. We have our first official final here at the Canadian Pride Curling Championships as Toronto 2 has defeated Vancouver. It was 6-0 at one point. I think they actually scored another 2. So unofficially an 8-0 win, Toronto 2 over Vancouver on Sheet B in the opening draw of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships.
Oh, here on C, they're really working to get that one in there, and they did it.
Got quite the little mess here on Sheet C. Couple of high guards, couple of rocks in the top of the 12. What do? You lose a game 8-0. Clearly nothing was going your way. Do you forget it?
You have to. I mean, I think they're probably going to sit down and have a conversation with themselves about what went wrong or why things went wrong. But you can't let it bring you down. Like I said before, you just got to shake it off. Things didn't work out in your favor this time, but that doesn't mean the next game you're not doing that to somebody else. You got to stay positive. You've got to be keep yourself up and going.
Well, and for Vancouver, draw number 2, they'll be back on Sheet B as they take on Saskatoon 1. Now, that's a game that we are hoping to be streaming. So our friend Tim from Curling Alberta will be back here to help us try and get things figured out, and we hope to be able to bring you live streaming from Sheet B for draw number 2, which would be Vancouver and Saskatoon 1. So again, Vancouver will know the ice, they'll know the rocks, so that might help them a little bit.
Definitely, because everything's it's a guess when you first start. Because you do get a bit of practice, but you can't take every shot that you would want to make during practice. You're just basically figuring out how much curl you're going to have and what the speed is going to be. So there's always some chances.
So we're on to the third stones here, or the thirds throwing stones here in the sixth end. As Dustin Anderson just peeled a guard, and now Logan Chinsky coming in. I didn't see what they were calling for, but I'm assuming they're calling for another guard.
That's exactly what they wanted, because they wanted to open up these 2 back yellow ones, because right now they are sitting 1 and 2. And now they want to replace that just to keep them guarded.
Yep. Logan's been great with his draws. Like his weight has been great, whether it is drawing for practice. I saw him, I think he got it right on the pin earlier today, and now that's a picture perfect guard.
And it's nice to have that consistency in a player, because when you ask for it, you're going to get it. And he has no choice but to take care of this, because if he wants to get anything, he's got to get rid of it.
But at some point, you got to do something here.
Absolutely.
You can't just keep peeling the guards.
And sometimes they're doing it because they're thinking that maybe the other team is going to, slip up a little bit, or something may not work in their favor, but you've got to keep your options open.
So same shot, same call for Logan Chinsky. Again, it is 2:34 here in Edmonton. Approximately 25 minutes left of this draw. Most teams are keeping up to time fairly well. This game likely to go over. Probably hit that 2:15 mark, or the 3:15 mark. Again, another good guard there thrown up by Logan Chinsky.
Excellent positioning on that one.
Okay, because I got here and I'm like, oh, shit.
A lot of people think, it'd just be so easy to come from the outside, but they haven't curled out there yet, and you don't know what that's going to be like weight-wise. It could be very sticky. Mm-hmm. It could really pick and just go in the direction you don't want it to.
So here we go. So now they're done with the peels. Now Dylan.
Now he wants a triple. He wants to take that front yellow.
Aggressive.
Knock those 2 out. If you're going to do it, go big or go home.
We've got handshakes over on Sheet E, Winnipeg. They were up 8-1 over St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm assuming St. John's scored 1 just based on the rock placements here. I could be wrong. Regardless, doesn't matter. They shook hands. Winnipeg getting the W here in draw number 1. So for those of you
this is Newfoundland's second year in Nationals. They joined us last year and they hosted last year.
Really?
Or was it the year before?
Wow. Okay. I thought they would have maybe joined
2 years ago. Yeah, it's been 2 years.
So they joined in Halifax, and then they hosted last year.
Yeah.
And now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Have you been to Newfoundland?
I have. I've curled in Newfoundland. I've curled in every gay curling league that we have, with the exception of PEI now.
And they're coming on board next year, so there's your
amazing.
opportunity.
I'm going to have to get to Newfoundland. Yep. I've done Halifax twice.
So you got to keep that kilt ready to go.
Absolutely.
I love Newfoundland. Like, it is.
It's a beautiful province.
It really is, and I'm so thankful. One of my good friends is from Mount Pearl, And he was like, when you come out here, you can't just say you did Newfoundland and just did St. John's. You got to go and see more. So we went up to Bonavista, of course, did Dildo. Of course, you have to along the way.
Absolutely.
But fantastic. Best mussels I've ever had in my life were in St. John's, Newfoundland. That's a true fact.
That's what everybody says. I tried them. It's not for me.
I love mussels. If I could eat mussels and shrimp every day, I would.
Shrimp I could handle. The mussels, yeah, that just was not a Dean thing.
Josh Berry throwing his first of 2 skip stones here in the 6th end. Draw number 1. Again, Saskatoon with a 4-2 lead.
It looked like they were trying to split the house a bit, but he came up just a little bit short. He needed that to be the 3rd shot. But I think he's going to go after those 2 again because he has to.
Well, if you can limit them to 1 here, that puts you in great shape.
Absolutely.
Because there's only 2 more ends after this. So you got to start thinking, too, who's going to have hammer going into the 8th? And where is that?
The big concern right now is who is going to have the hammer in the 8th end, because that's going to prove to be interesting this close.
Another quick scoreboard update over on Sheet G. It looks like Edmonton won in complete control, up 6-1 over Calgary 2. Montreal and Halifax are tied at 3 through 5 ends. And over on sheet A, it is a 7-3 lead for Ottawa. Again, Ottawa with 7 unanswered points after being down 3-0 through the first 2 ends. So what a turnaround there for Ottawa over Halifax too. Dylan Flash in the hack for his final shot here in the 6th end. We got one of them out.
So there is an opportunity here for them to score 2.
So the question, the question is, this might be a measurement. We don't have an overhead camera for the house closest to us right now, but that looks very close here from our end. If in fact Calgary is shot stone, this would be a draw-in for 2. But if they're not,
it looks like it's really tight. And that's the top of that, the house in this one is a little bit different because there actually is a white space there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Deceiving.
look like it's part of the house, but it actually is part of the house.
So what do you do when you're not 100% sure who shot rock? How do you approach this then?
You still got to play like you need the point. So either way, he's either going to have to draw in. I don't see any opportunity for him to take those 2 reds out.
I was going to say, there's no way that he could come around that other side.
Yourself.
Yeah. That'd be too risky
Absolutely.
of a play.
So you got to go with what, if you can get one, try to take it. And if that second one ends up being, that was a bonus.
So do the draw so you can guarantee yourself the 1, and then we'll do the measurement to see if we get the 2.
Absolutely. I mean, it's early enough that their eyes should be good because they probably haven't had enough beer yet today, but you know.
By the way, as I take a look around, Dave Veldkamp, big thank you to him as he's our resident photographer here for the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. He's come out to a few of our bonspiels and some league play, and he was very quick to jump at the opportunity to take photos here at Nationals. Josh Berry's final shot, the final shot here in the 6th end. Trying to draw in to score 1, potentially 2. So we'll get.
I have a feeling there's going to be a measurement coming up.
I would imagine there has to be, and there is, yeah. As they gingerly remove the other rocks in play, they stand around to look. Yeah, Dylan just said, let's measure. Let's bring out the measurement. So Calgary scored 1 for sure, so they're down 4-3 through 6. Will it be a tie?
It's going to make this game very interesting.
Logan Chinsky. setting up the measurements under the watchful eye of Dustin Anderson. I think
It's looking like it's just one.
I think so. They didn't have the dramatic point. Didn't have the dramatic point.
Right?
That's why you need like an umpire out there to do the dramatic point. Do it again so we can see. No. And it is one. So Dustin Anderson confirming that it was just one for Calgary.
And that's why you got to play it the way he did. I mean, you can't take the risk that was in, and then it ended up not being. So if you took that risk and you didn't make your shot, they would have gave them one.
So it's 4-3 going into the seventh. This is the pressure's starting to come on now because in theory, then Calgary would have Hammer going into the eighth final end.
Well, that's where
Potentially.
they could blank
So
this
this
one
is-
and
wow.
hold on, right?
So
this
that-
is a very crucial end. Absolutely.
We'll see where this is where strategy comes in. This is the exciting part of curling.
This is where it starts to get stressful for me. That's where Dean doesn't want to be Skip anymore.
Do you know what else is stressful for some people? Their finances. Raymond James. Raymond James. Allied Asset Management, Raymond James, and Jonathan Lessick are the proud sponsors of our seventh end games. Jonathan has been a member of Curling with Pride for years, but when he's not sliding out of the hack, well, he's crunching numbers and taking care of your financial future. As financial advisor, he ensures your financial goals and investments aren't just dreams, they're reality. His group provides personalized financial planning based on your goals, time, and risk tolerance. And based on all this tariff stuff, I wouldn't want to be looking at my investments right now.
God, it's too depressing to be like, you might as well burn your money right now.
Exactly. Wow, that shot just got past that
is shocking.
guard.
I thought he was going to wick off that.
I thought it was going to be another no tick rule was going to become the storyline of this event, but he just got past that. So again, it is 4-3 here in the seventh end as we get underway. Joel Pendergast in the hack. So again, hello to all of his students that are watching in West Calgary. Hope you're enjoying the action. Hope you're enjoying our commentary, which again, this isn't our full-time job. So just go easy on us. Judgment-free zone.
And I hope you're learning lots too.
Yeah. They're probably learning, wow, we're going to tune into the other sheet where there is no commentary. Handshakes over on sheet D. Regina, first ever game in the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. First ever win.
That's got to be a big boost for them coming into
Huge.
this event with no history. Nobody knows who these people are, really. They've probably been curling in Saskatoon, I do believe, because I was chatting with them a bit last night. They're excited to be here and be a part of this. They're looking forward to when they get to host. Because it happens, you know, we go from east to west to try to even out the cost for everybody.
Yeah.
And to ensure that everybody is getting a piece of this prize. Because it is a really special thing to have something like this that you get to put on. You get to showcase your city, your talent, your club. And hands off to them. I mean, that's amazing. Great job.
And what a confidence boost. Again, Regina, great story. They've got a couple of players that have played at the Briar a couple of times. So really excited to see how they progress throughout this event.
Absolutely. And I mean, to get to curl against that caliber of curler too is quite a privilege, actually. I wouldn't see it as, you know, a disadvantage for myself. I would go into that game like I would any other, like I'm here to win it and do my absolute best. But I would never have it in my head that, oh, they're going to be better than me, so I'm not even going to win this game. And if you go in with that strategy, then you are going to successfully create that strategy where you are going to lose. Everybody has good days, everybody has bad days.
So, interesting situation here. Game on sheet D and sheet B have cleared out. So, right now, sheet C, there's no action happening around them. does that start to affect the ice at all? Does that start to affect anything at all?
I don't think so. In a club atmosphere like this, everything is well managed for humidity levels and everything else. It's easier because there isn't anybody else out there. There aren't any warm bodies sitting around everybody heating up the place. So the temperature stays pretty consistent. If anything, it might get a little bit frosty just because there are fewer people out there now. But I think in these last two ends, it's not going to have that big of an impact. And that was a nice shot to split up those two, get them both in the open. So it'll be interesting to see what we're going to do here now. It's looking like he wants Holman to come around and just either guard or push back one of theirs. They're really working it to get it down there.
It'll be nestled in nicely behind that center guard.
Set up for a pretty sweet little double, but there is the chance that it could rack on that back red one too.
Once again, if you've been enjoying the coverage here in the opening draw from the opening day of the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championship, sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW, you can support your favorite curler or team by buying them a drink. $7.50 for a single, $23 for a pitcher. All you have to do is send us an e-transfer to curlingwithpride@gmail.com. Include the name of the curler or the team in the e-transfer message, and we'll be sure to get that out to you. Spencer McKnight came out of there like a bat out of hell.
Wow,
there's a lot of speed behind this one.
Behind this.
1 out, 2 out.
There's a sweet little double for him.
Do you get a doubles board here at Nationals? Is it like Curling with Pride? Do you get one?
They should be, absolutely.
That'd be nice. Free beers?
At the end of this, if they still have that double board, they win a pitcher of beer to celebrate the fact.
See, they're so focused on winning the championship here. It's not like in our league play where I would literally be sprinting down the ice to grab that doubles board and trying to like hide it, make sure no one gets it.
Let's be honest, free beer is free beer. And if you can win that because you got a double or a triple, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, you want everybody to know you just did that. It's looking like he's just going to come around again and try to hide something. Just give him an opportunity for two.
I mean, I guess in this situation then, if you're obviously Calgary, you're hoping to obviously steal something here, but if you force them to one, if you hold them to just one, down two with hammer, that's actually not a terrible
It's not horrible.
place to be in.
It's something you can come back from, possibly.
Dustin Anderson throwing the first of his stones here as we get down to the thirds. Dustin's also a drag queen, is he not?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I thought he was. In my brief research that I did, I thought that I saw that he was a drag queen.
Interesting.
With flair.
Wow, look at that.
What a shot.
Beautiful
The
double.
beautiful double.
Save theirs at the back. That's just
The
incredible.
precision from that shot. This would be the TSN turning point right there, right?
That
Like
would absolutely be
a
it. I mean, I never
beautiful
would have made
shot.
that. I'll tell you that right now.
that completely changed the dynamic of this
And
game.
that's how quickly this game can change from one to the next. It takes one shot and the whole thing could all of a sudden be upended.
And that's where you talk about the confidence, right? Because there was a couple of ends there where Dylan Flash was he was looking a little, rattled a little bit with a
Shaken
couple
a
of
bit.
shots. But man, did he ever rebound. And then you could see that confidence build through the team as the game has progressed. And again, with that precision shot by Dustin Anderson.
Absolutely. And you guys, you have to reward each other. You have to, it's always nice to hear at the end, you made a great shot, just to get the confidence back, to make sure that you're going to stay in that positive field of thought so that you're going to continue to be at your best. You can't let anything like this just drag you down and hold you back, because that's exactly what it will do, is hold you back.
So do you do if you're Saskatoon, are you trying a run back or are you just peeling the guard? What are you doing here?
If he gets the run back, he'll be happy with that, but I think he's just trying to eliminate the yellow stones. The fewer of them he has to worry about, the better off he is.
By the way, if it's getting a little bit noisier up here, it's because the Spring Fling teams are coming in. We're also hosting a Spring Fling Bonspiel.
And we'll be hitting the ice soon enough as well.
All right, so he did peel that center guard here. Josh Berry now coming up for the first of the two skip stones. Again, the opening day of the Canadian Pride Curling Championship, sponsored by Sports 1440 and Super Country 840 CFCW. For more than 70 years, CFCW has been Alberta's home for country music, Canada's first full-time country station, introducing listeners to local artists who have gone on to become some pretty big stars like Brett Kissel. Sports 1440 is also Edmonton's only sports talk station, where they have the pulse on our city's sports scene. So Josh Berry, with his first shot, looking to do another center guard there.
He's looking just to protect what he's got.
Yeah.
He's sitting shot. He wants to stay that way. It's looking good.
And that was perfect. Again, completely buried.
Absolutely. It's going to be very tough to get at that.
So another quick update, Ottawa with a win over on Sheet A. So again, Ottawa defeats Halifax 2, Toronto 2 with a win over Vancouver. Regina defeats Saskatoon 1 in their very first game ever in the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. Winnipeg with a win over St. John's. Those are the completed games. Over on Sheet F, Halifax won with a 5-3 lead over Montreal. Edmonton won in the lead over in Sheet G against Calgary, and Toronto won, looking to defend their championship with a 5-3 lead over Edmonton 2. Coming down to the final two rocks of Sheet 7 on Sheet C. So you're going to take this one out. You'll be sitting 2, and then basically
you're forcing them to do something.
You're forcing them to either hit and stick or just draw whatever Dylan Flash is comfortable with.
Yeah, because I don't think there's going to be any way they can get both of them out unless they're lined up perfectly, which doesn't always happen.
Well, and even if they are lined up perfectly, you
It's
don't
still a
want,
tough shot.
and you also don't want to be that aggressive either.
Absolutely. I don't know about this one. Looks like he's still got it. Perfect.
Yep, so there you go. It'll be just the hit and stick. You score your 1. Saskatoon would go up 2 into the final end.
Absolutely. And that's a good position to be in.
That's a great position for them
Especially
to be in.
with a very low-scoring game like this. Obviously, there isn't a blowout of 3 or 4 points per end. They've 2 at the most, and now it's all down to 1. So it is possible to come back and win somebody to death and, take it back. But
We've got handshakes over on Sheet G as Edmonton 1, the hosts, defeat Calgary 2. Here comes Dylan Flash with his final shot. The sweepers were on it hard. Nothing to worry about here.
Let it work. There we go.
Hits,
He's
sticks.
got that for 1.
Or does he? No.
Oh, it looks like he
No.
might
From the
not.
overhead cam, it's a steal of 1 for Calgary. It is a steal of 1 for Calgary.
Send you guys drinks. So, Team Regina, you've got a drink that's been bought for you.
Wow.
That's
What a
crazy.
turnaround.
And that's how quickly this game can change. I mean,
It was
my
just
God. We assumed that
inches.
he had that.
But then we looked at our overhead cam where you could really see it.
And it was tight. It was close.
Toronto 1, Francis, Tim Elliott.
So here we are, the 8th and final end of this game, and we are tied up at 4. My goodness. Doesn't get any better than this.
This is a nail biter, and it's nice to see games like this where things aren't blown out. Everybody's curling an exceptional game.
The 8th end of this opening draw is sponsored by the Matera Hotel on White. Thank you for your support. The Matera is our host hotel and proud supporters of Edmonton's 2S LGBTQ+ community, combining the simplicity of contemporary with an eclectic design aesthetic, an authentic lifestyle hotel offering a contemporary hospitality experience who appreciate accessible luxury. What a turnaround. Like, that looked like it was routine shot.
I thought he had that in the bag, and that just goes to show how quickly things can change. Sometimes it's millimeters, and that makes all the difference. This is looking pretty good. Just biting.
Where you go, I'm gonna.
So I just got notice from Tim from Curling Alberta, who has been watching this. He will be coming down. I understand that the camera showing the home end here is frozen. So we're going to see if we can try and figure this out. I'm going to turn off the microphones. We'll try and figure it out. All right, so we're still having those technical difficulties. We aren't able to show you the rocks in the house, so we're going to have to be really descriptive here and let you know exactly what is happening here. So again, it is the 8th end, game tied at 4. And right now, Saskatoon sitting 2. They've got 1 rock in the top of the 12. They got 1 rock in the 8th. Saskatoon in control. I'll see if I can adjust the camera here to help. Okay, so That is the only way we're going to be able to make this work. So again, on the right-hand screen, that screen is frozen. Don't worry about it. Don't look at it. We've adjusted the camera here. Tim, if you're watching, I'm sorry. We're going to have to redo all the cameras after, but we needed to do this for our viewers that are watching here at home. So they're trying to peel the center guard, which they do. As you can see, we've got 2 reds counting. That would be for Saskatoon. Saskatoon, the red stones, Calgary, the yellow. Game tied at 4 here in the 8th end. You just got to roll with the punches, Dean. Just got to roll with the punches.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Wise words. Toronto won. The defending champs off to a perfect start as they defeat Edmonton 2 over on sheet H. The only other game that's still underway is over on sheet F. We've got a 5-5 tie between Montreal and Halifax 1.
I don't think he was expecting that one to be that far back. I mean, it's not hurting them at the moment. It might actually be better for them to push back, but it's still going to be a very useful rock.
All right, this is great. Tim's just texting me, so we're able to troubleshoot on the fly here. So we now have full screen, just one screen that you can see here of the house, which makes life so much easier for our viewers watching from home.
And we will get this figured out.
Well, that clears some things up there.
That opens up a lot for them.
So as again now, Calgary's starting to kind of under the gun here. They've only got 4 stones left. They've got to score at least 1 here. Again, this game tied up at 4, opening draw. You guys should see this. Dean is holding the camera on one hand, drinking beer out of the other, commentating as well.
Multitasking.
Again, this guy's amazing. And then he's, in just a few minutes, he's got to run downstairs and curl in the spring fling. So Logan Chinsky throwing the first of his stones here. Do you just throw it with a lot of weight and just hope that you kind of get a bang, bang, bang?
I think that's what he's going to end up going with. He's contemplating what he wants to do, but it's looking like he wants to guard. I don't know if I would take that approach. Like you said, there's only 4 rocks left, and you've got to make the most of them.
By the way, big thank you to Tim and Curl Alberta for helping us with the streaming. Again, I know there's been some technical difficulties here, but hey, at the end of the day, we're getting something on the air, and it's just going to get better and better with each and every game.
Absolutely. Technology is what it is. Sometimes it works for us, and sometimes, not so much. It's a pretty good guard.
So I don't understand that shot, Dean.
I'm not 100% sure why he would have went with that either. I think I would have went with trying to remove some of the red stones because we're tied up.
Right? This late in the game, tied up, would you not want to just try and...
Or I would have tried to come around to hide, but that's just me. I don't know.
This is why we're not curling in nationals.
Right? Maybe I don't make all the right decisions.
So basically, Saskatoon 2 calling a timeout here.
In essence, we don't technically have such a thing, but getting this late in the end, you want to make sure that everybody's on board with the thought process that you have and where you see this game going and how we're going to achieve what we need to do. And it's good to have other people's opinions because sometimes they'll see something that you may not see, or you may be just focused on one shot and you're not contemplating something different. So it's always good to have a few different opinions, and sometimes it's too many opinions and you don't know what the hell to do. So
For those of you watching, spoiler alert for Draw 2, our feature game with commentary on Sheet C will be Toronto 1, the defending champions, with Bill Francis taking on Ottawa. And again, Ottawa had that massive come-from-behind win over in this earlier game. So that'll be our feature game. And if all goes well, the second game that we will be streaming without commentary will be Vancouver taking on Saskatoon 1, both teams searching for their first win of the Canadian Pride Curling Championships. A lot of pressure here when it's down to the final rocks, eighth end. This is what it's all about.
This is where sometimes the nerves will get to you, or you start to be a little bit outside, or just a little bit heavier light.
Oh, and now you're really taking that time to clean under the rocks.
Yeah, you need to get down there. You need to be in the hack. You need to focus and basically clear your mind of everything going on except what you are doing right now.
You want to make sure that surface is nice and clean. You don't want any picks. Dustin Anderson, the winning skip from 2022, opted to play third here at this year's Nationals with Dylan Flash skipping.
And doing a really great job as third. He's looking pretty nice. It's looking like they'll be sitting 3 after this.
Is that too far deep, though? Is that too far deep?
It is a bit deep. I don't think it is third shot. I think he's only got 1 and 2. But maybe it's just a distraction for the other team, too.
A distraction, eh?
Just make them think about something else other than what they were thinking about in the first place.
So are they just trying to get a piece of the shot rock here? What are they trying to do?
This one's going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going for his front yellow one to push it back, which is what it's looking like.
It looks light. This looks like this is going to be helping Calgary a little bit more than it hurts them.
Definitely going to be helping Calgary out, for sure.
Wow. Logan Chinsky's been great with his weight all game long.
Oh, yeah. And that being on the pin, it's covered from both sides. I don't think you can draw around it from the outside.
So now this is the part where every single decision is second guessed, you know?
Absolutely. And this is where the pressure part comes in. You're either going to crack underneath it or you're going to rise above it and do what you have to.
There's no like angle raise.
I don't know if I would even bother with any of that. I wouldn't try to take out any of their rocks. If anything, I would just start protecting that.
But what I'm wondering
area.
though is if that's a possibility for Calgary. Do you want to put a guard somewhere there to prevent something like that from happening?
Absolutely, but it's looking like he's going to go after those 2 yellow ones just to remove them.
Yeah, great call.
Got the one, which is great. It's narrowing the path to get any closer.
So there is a little opening there, a little port that they might be able to get in, but there's nothing's going to stick around. You're going to the rock that's on the pin right now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to stay because it's not. He can't get right to the top of that. He's got to hit it off to the side a bit. And if he's a little bit heavy, he's going to roll right out, and that other one's going to stay on the pin. You'll just be exchanging the rocks.
While we wait for this, again, a reminder, Draw 2 coming up at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's Edmonton time. It's 8:30 p.m. in the east. So it'll be a late game for all of you watching in Ontario for the Battle of Ontario as Toronto 1 takes on Ottawa in draw number 2. So here we go. Josh Berry, 4-time provincial junior champion. Game tied at 4. Let's see what happens here. He's going to try and get in between that port.
It's pretty tight. Right now he needs to curl a bit.
Starting to curl.
Starting to come. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think he's wrecked on that
He's wrecked
guard.
on it.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
So now, if you're
makes a
Dylan
big
Flash, you just put up a guard.
That would be the safe bet. Absolutely.
I just don't see a way. I just don't see a way for Calgary to steal one here.
Not at all at the moment, unless.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Oh, absolutely, but right now it's looking like I'm not sure how they're going to score.
By the way, the only other game still ongoing over on Sheet F, Montreal, Halifax 1. That game tied up at 5, and it is Halifax 1 sitting 2 right now, and they have the hammer. So this game could be all but over for Montreal. Once again, the 8th end of this game is brought to you in part by the Matera Hotel on White. Thank you again for your support. A big decision here for Team Saskatoon 2 as Dylan Flash and Dustin Anderson talk in the house trying to figure out what's the best way to ensure that nothing bad happens and they are guaranteed that one and a victory. It's been an exciting first game.
It's been a really good first game, actually. I'm glad this really got kicked off with a really close game. It's not high scoring. Everybody's been curling exceptionally well.
And it speaks to the level of talent here at these games.
This isn't a blowout. We've got two teams that are quite equally matched. And sometimes it's just he who has the most luck sometimes gets the win. But
is it over curling here?
You've got to work for it. Might be a little bit tight, but it's not horrible. He's pushed that one over enough that I'm not sure what yellow is going to do here. He's got a couple of options.
None of them great.
Do they look great? Absolutely not. They're options I wouldn't want to be facing right now. This will be his last shot.
Here's the thing, even if you go bang, bang, bang with the Reds, where they're kind of taking a look there.
All three of them are going.
No, and I think that one red in the 12 will still be your shot rock.
Absolutely.
Right? So I don't think there's a way to do this.
And depending upon what happens, this could be the last shot of the game.
Yeah, I think it looks like there might be a hand
If red is counting, they won't even need to bother throwing because they will already have the point.
Over on Sheet F, Montreal with their last rock, facing 2. They crash on their own guard. That'll be handshakes as Halifax won with a big win over Montreal. So the last game left to be played in draw number 1 here on Sheet C. It is our feature game. Saskatoon 2 taking on Calgary 1. The game is tied at 4. The last shot for Calgary, Josh Berry, needs to have
He's got to make something
Calgary
happen
sitting
here.
1 here or it's handshakes.
It's looking like he's going for a raise situation or a triple knockout.
Both go. And is it?
Not quite enough.
Not enough.
Great,
What a shot, though.
Great effort on that. I mean,
What a great chance.
It doesn't get any closer than that. Well-earned win.
And it is handshakes as Saskatoon 2 hangs on for the win over Calgary 1 in Sheetsy in draw number 1. For Dean Carlson, I'm Kevin Jesus. Thank you so much for tuning in for the 2025 Canadian Pride Curling Championships. We'll be back in a couple of hours for draw number 2.